Hello, I'm Tracy Friend from Liberating the Heart, and in this video, I'm going to talk about this idea of allowing our life to become an expression of our soul. So sometimes when people think about the law of attraction, they might think it's an efforting, it's a trying to make things happen, even it's a slight kind of competitiveness. But the law of attraction explains that everything that we've asked for already exists in an energetic or non-physical format. So that means that if someone else wanted the same thing, more would be created. And as we start to do the practices consistently, the different law of attraction practices, to think more consistently about the presence of what we want to experience, we do appreciation practices to make the best of our current life, and then also meditation, then we start to release any resistant thought and we get more into a mode of allowing. As we start to release more and more resistant thought, then what's left is our true free flowing energy, our high frequency energy. And what I've seen is as people are more and more in that state, even if they're not deliberately thinking about specific things that they want, as they're just feeling better in a higher energy, higher vibrational state, then things can start to be revealed almost like more of an instant manifestation. So people often have the experience where, as they're feeling better, something manifests in their life that they weren't even deliberately focused on, or maybe even things that they hadn't thought that they would want, or a sense of maybe there was something they knew they wanted, but when it manifests, it's a perfected version, like way beyond what they thought was possible, or maybe they'd even articulated. And that's because as they've released resistance, they're coming into greater connection with their true self. And once we come into greater connection with our true self, we are more in a state of inspiration, vitality, a state of joy, a state of love and appreciation. And then anything that matches that frequency will be drawn into our life. And what I've seen is the people that really get the results. I mean, the law of attraction certainly can work if we just apply it for a short period of time. But because we're constantly expanding, we're constantly being exposed to new things, having new ideas, new preferences. If we want to stay up to speed with that expansion, it's really having a regular practice. We could think of it in terms of cleaning our mind regularly, ideally every day. And then not only do we stay up to speed with that expansion, but we start to release any deeper and deeper patterns that aren't serving us. I've certainly seen that in my life. You know, I used to think that certain things on the spiritual path weren't achievable by regular householders, regular working people, that maybe you'd have to go away to a monastery to have certain spiritual experiences. But I've just stuck with the practices pretty much day in, day out. And there's been many times where it's felt like Groundhog Day. It's felt like things aren't changing. I've kept doing the practices. But then when I've kept doing them, then it's suddenly a transformation has occurred. So it seemed quite sudden, but it's all of the practices that we do up to that point. There's also this idea of reaching a tipping point. So on any subject, we could be thinking about the presence of what we want or the lack of what we want. And if we're thinking about, how we want to feel or thinking thoughts of appreciation, then we can cancel it out sometimes by thinking, oh, but when's that going to happen? And what about this challenge in my life? And then we want to tip the balance through having a regular practice. So we're thinking more consistently about the presence of what we want. And I've seen that so many times with people that I've worked with, that to start with, they might do the practices and feel a bit better, but then they might say, oh, but nothing's changed in my life. But the first manifestation is that we feel better. And then it's the people that keep doing the practices. They sometimes keep doing them just because they think, well, I feel better anyway. What have I got to lose? I might as well just keep doing it. And then they're solidifying those thoughts. Those thoughts are becoming beliefs. And when it becomes a belief, then things have to change. When things feel almost a bit manic and, oh, it'd be absolutely amazing if that happened, then we're probably not in the energetic space where it can happen. When things manifest is when we've done the work of shifting our beliefs, shifting our energy. So it almost feels normal, like we're happy anyway. We're enjoying our current life. We're no longer tortured by, the absence of things that we might want. We're already in a state of trust and a state of appreciation. So I just wanted to share this because the law of attraction might sometimes just be considered as an approach for getting stuff, but I see it more as an approach to life. So we can live more in a state of relaxation, greater trust, trust that the universe is aware of us, is taking care of us, more in a state of appreciation, appreciating the good that's already in our life, and then looking forward to the future, inspired and excited by things in the future, with a knowing that things that are an expression of who we are will manifest at the right time. So thank you for listening.